resistance, persistence, and vigilance. Those were the words that resonated with me this past week. After last Saturday's tragic show of bigotry and racism and the resulting violence in Charlottesville, I was left hollow, empty, distressed and depressed, and in a place where I just wanted to hide from the world and all of the evil that we see 24/7 on the cable news. Then I read the story of the Canaanite woman. This woman formed a one-woman welcoming committee when Jesus entered Tyre and Sidon. And the Canaanite woman's greeting, well, it's actually part of a pattern. We find her words on the lips of others who approach Jesus with pressing needs. "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David." With these initial words, the woman is claiming an ancestral relationship with Jesus. 3 women in Jesus' genealogy are Canaanite women: Rahab, Tamar, and Ruth. The anonymous woman's foremothers are Jesus' kinfolk. And now she continues. Have mercy demonstrates that this Canaanite woman has heard the rumors. She has knowledge of Jesus' response to others who have come seeking healing, and she knows that Jesus has shown mercy to all those who have approached him. And the title that she uses is Lord, by which she addresses Jesus, acknowledging him first as a man in relationship to her being a woman. And it also demonstrates respect for Jesus as a Jewish rabbi. And the last phrase, "on me," well, that reveals that she is the object of the mercy that she is seeking. Her request is a personal one. For any mother sitting here today knows what impacts my child impacts me. And finally, the title Son of David is perhaps her way of, again, acknowledging that Jesus is kin, but it also is a term of royalty. And so she is calling Jesus the Jewish Messiah. Here's a smart woman. The Canaanite woman strategically, clearly, and succinctly confronts and informs Jesus of her problem. My daughter is being tormented by a demon. Now, she does not directly request healing for her child because she knows, or at least assumes, that mercy would take the form of healing. After all, the rumor was that all a person had to do was to bring the sick to Jesus, and if they just touched the fringe of his garment, they would be healed. So she doesn't bring her daughter to Jesus, but she definitely expects something to happen in that intersection of her negotiations and Jesus' mercy. Well, Jesus had just taught the crowds, including some Pharisees and his own disciples, that a person is defiled not by what is put in their stomach, but by what originates in their heart and is manifested in their life. For example, murder or adultery, theft, deception. Now, this clearly implies that one's race or ethnicity, gender, disability, or class does not defile a person. So we might be surprised by both Jesus' silence and his less than merciful response to this woman in need, this woman who has requested mercy. Initially, Jesus fails to even acknowledge this woman. Now, if you've ever had a pressing need, you know how horrible it feels to have a dire or significant request for help or information met with dead silence. Now, women's words are often met with silence, or are interpreted or disrespected or mansplained by men and sometimes women alike. And those times in my life when I asked for information or help and received nothing but silence, I would have much preferred a curt, heck no. So, what's a desperate woman to do? No one immediately responds to this woman or gives the impression that they will. The disciples actually urge Jesus to send her away because they are annoyed by her continued shouting and her resistance to take silence as an answer. Too often, we cannot or refuse to empathize with people whose experiences are different than ours. If the oppression or the injustice or the pain's not happening in our house or our neighborhood or does not impact our race, our gender, our class, or our sexuality, then we just dismiss it as unwelcome, unjustified noise. And we insist that those protesting keep silent. Well, Jesus' response to the disciples urging to send this Canaanite woman away seems to affirm this desire to just dismiss her. I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. The fact that her people's blood runs through his veins and that his blood runs through her veins does not move Jesus to mercy. So if our common humanity, our relatedness, does not move us, what will? In this case, it's persistence. The Canaanite woman resists being dismissed as less than human, and she persists with her pleas. Like Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Rosa Parks, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor, Michelle Obama, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and Senator Kamala Harris. The Canaanite woman persisted, often to the annoyance of the men around them. And so many anonymous women like the Canaanite woman have persisted as lone minority voices among a majority of authoritative and often powerful people. Yes, she persisted. She didn't go away. She resisted being dismissed. And she draws closer and she kneels. And in the vernacular of a determined woman, she cries, "Master, help me." Now, her plea for help is met with the language of cultural difference and distance and disdain. It is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs. It seems that ancient Greeks and other Gentiles had a much more familiar relationship with household pets, particularly dogs, than did the average Jewish person. Now, this cultural difference explains the woman's response. She says, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table." It seems Canaanites allowed their pets to be fed while the children ate. As any parent of a toddler knows, you definitely can feed the kids and the dog too. In the end, Jesus responds by praising this woman's faith, yet Jesus does not perform an exorcism. He simply says, "Let it be done for you as you wish." He does not say, "Let it be done as you believe, but as you will." The woman's willpower, manifested by her resistance and her persistence, identified here in this story as faith, led to her daughter's healing. Perhaps faith creates persistence, or maybe persistence feeds faith. Either way, in this case, faith and persistence make a powerful pair. Never underestimate the power of a persistent woman and the God in whom she believes. I am affirmed by this story to continue to resist the powers that be that would label last Saturday's tragedies as anything less than bigotry and racism and try to force my silence. I am encouraged to persist in the struggle for a better world where all human beings are celebrated for who they are as they are. And I am strengthened to be vigilant in the battle for love, and I believe in a God who supports these efforts. And I pray that you do too. Amen.